Hello, welcome to the SmartPip.com pre-European market review. My name is Christian Stevens, also known as FX Chris. Today is Tuesday, March 13th, 2012. This is a review of just some of what we did today in the live pre-European class today at SmartPip.com. Let me remind you that the purpose of this video is education. We are not an alert service, so I will not make any direct trade recommendations throughout the course of a session, although we will plan in detail for several setups together entirely in class each day. Please be mindful that trading under leverage is always risky business. Occasionally, as a novice trader, using excessive leverage might work for you. More times than not, though, unfortunately, it's going to work against you. So please don't trade real money until you have a proven track record of success on a broker's free play account. But even then, also remember past performance does not predict future results. Don't trade money you can't afford to lose. And one more thing before we get started, whether you're watching this video on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, our blog at smartpip.com, or our blog at fxstreet.com, please leave any sort of a comment. We'd love to hear from you once you're done watching. Hello, thanks, we hate your video, whatever. Any feedback is great. Anyway, today it's been pretty fun trading lately, right? We've had, I don't know about you, but I've had a lot of, made some good pips, but I've had a lot of misses too. I don't know if you guys have experienced that, where things have just missed my entry zone by like 10 pips. It's over the last week and a half, I've probably watched half of my plans disappear like that. Today I was determined not to be one of those days. Well, as I came in today, what I first noticed, and this is what we talked about in class today, I'll pull this over here, is, oops. This is the U.S. index, is that we were coming off this, I'm not sure if this is, well, I'll leave it here. Coming off this resistance here, if you can see this, blue line around 80.15. Let me zoom in one more notch. And, okay, so here we are, coming off that area. I can't seem to get just that candle, not that precise here. Off right there. Okay, there we go, finally. Let me just highlight that for you so you see what I'm talking about. Coming off this area right here, roll reversing area, as you can see, it's a 50% fib of this overall move. Okay, so yes, I do expect at that point at least a swing fib. What I mean by swing fib in this case is a fib between this line here and this line here on more of a fractal sort of, remember this is a daily chart, so maybe like an hourly or 4 hour. In other words, a little pullback here of some degree. This was our plan, that it would do something like this. And then it would try to continue mission, at least back into it. Okay, so while this is falling, remember what makes up the U.S. index is approximately 60% of the index is the euro dollar. What if this is dropping? Then typically the euro is going to be rising. So basically, while that's falling, we expect a pullback. Okay. And once that does fall in fib, which you can see it's already done, then I expect the euro to scream back to the downside as this goes through, which it's currently doing as I'm making the video. Hang on a second. Let me do something. I'm still in this trade. Hang on just a second. I'm going to pause the video for a minute. Sorry about that. Trying to manage trades in between making a video, kind of tricky, but just hit some final targets there and leaving some leftovers, and I had to do some stuff. Sorry. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah. So we on the index we expected basically, if you recall, I'm expecting a pullback off of that before rise, which means like on the euro, if you translate that to the euro, I'm expecting it to pull back the other way. So we had already had the lower high. It looks like, I don't know, 11 p.m. Eastern time, and it came down, hit this roll reversal here. So I'm coming into my day in this zone. So at that point, I'm looking at the 4-hour Stokes cycle has been completed, so we have a complete day up, which means it's probably about to begin one down. There was a good plan. I had two plans here. I want to be honest with you. I had two plans here. One was to short basically a lower high here at the London Open, around 31.80 or so. The other was actually higher, about 32.10. So those were my two plans. So I was actually hoping it would go higher. I would have liked that short better. You can probably even see that alarm up there for the secondary one of the plan. And if you look at an hourly chart, okay, this is what our 4-hour and an hourly chart next to each other. This is what I had on the 4-hour. You can see the roll reversal here going all the way back to 31.80. So 31.80 is a very important area. That's pretty obvious. All right. And in fact, we longed this the other day to get up to that point. Well, here we are. So this is like a weekly central pivot point and a R2 and all that other stuff. So that would have been the second place to long it. And if it's going to get there, then I think it would have got there by means of a higher low. All right. So what I'm getting at here is there were essentially two plans here. Okay. One was to short the lower high, um, if it presented one. Okay, at London Open. Now, if it broke this area here, like it got through there, I would have then been expecting it to get all the way to that 30 to 30 zone, 20 zone, 15 zone, whatever, somewhere around there, and I would have waited for it. Okay, but our plan, right at the open was to wait and see where we were, and you can see on a hourly chart, if I go over one candle here, we start to drop off that 80 zone. We come into pre-London, and this is what happens. This is that fib I'm talking about. From here to the last major area. You see that? 50%. Boom. And see that rise that's going back up there? Okay. That is this rise right here. And I want to show you. This is a 618 fib the other way. Notice the Stokes cycle is ready to roll to the downside. And something I pointed out to the room was that notice the Stokes cycle prior, the one here, did not finish the cycle. It had like an angle. So I was saying to the room around this time to expect a lower rollover, and that happens right there. Pretty much tries to make a move, and there you go. So what has happened in this case is basically is right just before front of London Open, which actually is a little awkward right now because of the time change in the U.S. is we've done a lower high have a lower high situation. I mean, you couldn't really short it here. You may have physically known, hey, this is going to drop. I mean, everything says this is going to drop from here. I've got a nice hourly Stokes cycle down. It's rolling over. The daily's bearish, blah, blah. But the bottom line, this is support. You've got yourself a 2155 right there on the hourly. I forget what it was on the 4 hour. You also have roll reversal. So you can't just walk in and short at support. But once it comes off of that area and it can't make a lower high, now you're dealing with a different situation because now you're dealing with, okay, let me short the 7580 zone and I can put my stop, risk got that many pips, a little bit above a higher high. That would be the failure point. And your target is at least 3140 first target and about 30, what is it, about 3140. I'm sorry. I don't know why I said 3140. 3130, I think it was. I'll have to look at the hourly. Here's the targets. Okay. It's not letting me. Oh, there we go. Yeah, here's our targets here. Our first target would be essentially this roll reversal area, 3124.30. Okay, this is an hourly chart now. So right around here, and if you take this fib all the way down, that would be like a 50% 618 of the overall move. So target number one was effectively this stuff in here. If there was going to be a higher low that was meaningful and that took this up again, it would happen prior to that 3130 area or whatever. It would, it would probably, if it's going to do something like that, it's going to do it like this, and somewhere between here and here, you would get that rise. If it's not, then what you're going to look for is when it rises is a roll reversal of this area. Can you see that right there, that little zone? And if that happens, then there's no reason it's not going to the next level, which if you look at the 4-hour chart would probably be this trend line coming up here, wherever that happens to be at the time, which is currently right around 30, 50, 60, somewhere around there. So what happened? All right, I'm making this video a little longer than I expected. By the way, by the same time we're making this plan, we're making a plan for the euro pound very similarly. I'll show you that briefly when I'm done here. So, we get into this trade, and there you go. I mean, you got yourself one full motion. It's about 40 pips, I think it was, 45. And then it, bottom line, though, it's clearly made direction for you. That's the first move. And now you're looking for the, that continuation move right there. Okay? And if it's going to fail and head up, then it's going to do it like this. You see what I mean? So the question is, were you going to short again? I did short again, but I didn't long. You know what I mean? I wouldn't have longed it unless we got the higher low, but we didn't. So anyway, all night sitting here, and this is the actual London Open in the U.S. right now. It's about 4 a.m. Eastern time, and look at that. That's roll reversal now the other way. You have a crossing 2155 EMA. You got some angle and separation there. You start to get some red. Just lay into it around 50, and here's where we are. Here's where we are. So from the initial entry, and that's actually why I had to pause the video because I had to act there. Actually, my initial entry, to be full disclosure, I did scale it around 40 pips, and I reloaded what I took off here. And there you go, another 90 there. So, and I just took another considerable profit take there right now. So that was our plan effectively on the euro. And if I scoot over a 4-hour to the current, you can see that it rolled perfectly on that area. If you go to an hourly, we've just completed a Stokes cycle, or we're coming up on the U.S. stock market open here in 30 minutes, and we are only inches away from the daily S2 reversal pivot point. How about that? So let's check our support and resistance on the other charts here. Let's see. This is what we had on the 4-hour as our two areas. Now, we did indeed pause at that first area. You can see that area here for, I don't know, an hour, something like that. And now it's pushed through to this trend line, which, if you're wondering what this trend line is, it's not a terribly strong trend line. It's just a place that I've noticed a little. You've got a lot of volatility within here. You've got some little trend line there, touch this high, this low, this high. So yeah, I mean, anything's possible, but I would expect that we're probably going to see a little bounce off of this, at least back up to 131 or 139 or something. But overall, I got to tell you something. This weekly and this look 4-hour says it's just beginning a down move, frankly, for an entire day. So I want to point that out to you first and foremost. All right, that's usually Stokes cycles last about 6 candles. So this is saying it's just beginning, but I'd have a hard time believing we wouldn't pull back some. But you look at this weekly. This weekly looks bearish to almost 128 at least. So I wouldn't be trying to stand in front of the freight train on this. If you're going to try to long this, you might want to make sure you have some sort of confirmation and everything. Higher low of some sort. I would be very careful. But right now, I would expect this to probably grind its way back up to like an hourly 5, and then we'll see what's what when the U.S. stock market opens. So that was one of our trade plans. Really quickly, the euro pound trade plan here wasn't all that different. The difference was that made me stay away from the pound short, which by the way is working as well, but not as quality. Here we were. Well, I'm not going to go through the whole thing. Video will take too long, but you can see right here where I'm highlighting. This is when we are in class, and what we set up for is if we get back up to 84.20, we don't make a higher high of any significance. I see no reason this isn't going to fall, and I think our target on this was 83.80 zone, 70.80 zone. Now we've gone beyond that, which is fantastic. But you got to realize the pip value on the euro pound is higher, so this is actually a very good trade in its own right. And you can see a 60 pip euro pound trade is worth as much as that 100 pip euro dollar. So, and actually we're starting to break that area now, that first target, and we're heading into a role reversal area. So I left 30% of this trade just in case it gets crazy. But this was another very easy sort of reload. Short at the open, reload this. See the angle and separation on the 21.55 here. This is not something that you expect to change. See how it's increasing. So when you get there and you're at a fib zone, I mean, even if you fail, you're likely to fail in that manner, which is certainly enough time to get break even on your reload. And that's what we just had happen here. And same deal here. It's beginning. It's actually saying to be careful shorting the pound, even though the pound looks very bearish. Pound's likely to be a little more stubborn if this thing keeps dropping, so we'll have to see. But that was pretty much our trade plan in a nutshell today. Now that the index has broken resistance, and I'm looking at the next zone, which was our overall target last week when we were at the bottom of this. This is a weekly chart now. Okay, the U.S. index, it was telling us that we were beginning a month of up. This was a few weeks ago, and honestly, this is our first target, which was the 80.40 zone. And well, we're getting pretty damn close to that. So as this creeps up there, we'll see how that's going to affect the euro. And honestly, it should be a pretty good week. We're very close to that target. So you guys have a great day. I hope you learned something here. I hope you made some pips today. If you'd like to learn how to put these trade plans together on a daily basis, please come join us at smartpip.com. We have a pre-European class every day, which is about 2 hours or so before the London Open, where we bounce ideas off each other and put plans together. And even though that's the class itself, the room stays open afterwards for us to chat about the trades we're in all throughout the night. You guys have a great day. Cheers.